Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So this video is all about what is GSOC, what is its eligibility criteria, if you are a complete beginner, how you have to enter in GSOC community, and many more things about projects, proposal and all that. And obviously I didn't crack GSOC, so I'm not going to give any insight about this. So the person who cracked GSOC this year only, he's one of my good friend. His name is Rajan Jaiswal. So I invited Rajan Jaiswal to sharing insight of his GSOC journey, and definitely you guys are getting a lot of insights and knowledge about GSOC and all. So yes, please continue with the video. And wait, don't complain me about quality and all. अब Zoom से record हो रहा है तो DSLR की quality तो आएगी नहीं. मेरे पास है भी नहीं वैसे. Please continue with the video. Hello Rajan, welcome to my YouTube channel. So viewers, this is Rajan Jaiswal who cracked GSOC this year only, and now he's going to give you a lot more insights on your doubts about GSOC and all that. So yes, now I want Rajan introduce himself.
Hey everyone, this is Rajan from NIT Surathkal, Karnataka. And this year I was selected for Google Summer of Code, and I worked as an open source developer under the organization CCS Tractor Development. And so today's session, we are going to learn about open source and Google Summer of Code. So I would like to welcome all of you. And I hope that my experiences will help you in overcoming any doubts or queries that you might have while applying for GSOC next year.
So yes, this is a great insight I got from your side, and hope viewers also get. The next question is everyone confused about what is GSOC, what is open source. So can you please put some insights on these topics?
Yes, sure. The term open source refers to something people can modify, share because its design is publicly accessible, and by being open and freely available, it enables and encourages collaboration and the development of technology, right? And the same is with open source software. Right? It is a software with source code that anyone can inspect, modify, and enhance. So programmers who have access to computer programs source code can improve that program by adding features to it, or fixing issues, bugs, and that don't always work correctly, right? So this is what open source and open source software is. And coming back to GSOC, GSOC refers to Google Summer of Code, as you all may know. It is an initiative by Google that helps organizations, connect with students and get them started with their open source projects. So it is a great platform to explore, new ideas, and and it is definitely not something you should pursue half-heartedly or just for the sake of it, because the world actually depends on open source softwares more than you might think.
Great, Rajan. So yeah, obviously my second question is the students who want to apply in GSOC. So is there any eligibility criteria?
Okay, so there is not any specific eligibility criteria. Yeah, it's just you should be at least 18 years of age at the time of applying. And the other thing is you should be enrolled in an institution in the year in which you're applying for GSOC. So you should have a proof of that. And yeah, that's it, I guess. A student in any year can apply for it. And yeah, it's open to all basically.
Okay, Rajan. So my next question is the student who are a complete beginner, but still he or she want to go in GSOC and want to explore what this field is. So from where he or she has to start? Can you please put some insights on this point?
Yeah, sure. So for someone with no open source experience, one of the ways to getting started with GSOC is, I mean, it's irrespective of if you are a GSOC aspirant or not. The first and foremost thing is you should learn a programming language, right? It may be of your choice, or it may be something that interests you. And after learning the programming language, you should explore projects, right? You should explore frameworks that use that programming language, and you should try to get a good grasp in that. You should try to master those tech stack, and then you can start exploring for a project that matches along with your interest. And for collaboration, GitHub is the most popular platform for open source collaboration. Therefore, if you're selected, you'll probably use it while exploring the world of open source. So you should have a good knowledge of GitHub. And yeah, so that's all you need to getting started with open source. And once you are confident in your tech stack, in your programming language, you can simply dive into any of the open source organizations, and you can look for their projects, and then you can directly um, start looking at the code base, and finding bugs and solving issues, getting in connect with the community.
Yeah, obviously, Razan, whatever you told, obviously, people get some insights from you. The next question is when a student wants to apply in GSOC, obviously, they go, they figure out the project in which tech stack they have to work. According to their tech stack, they go and figure out the project. But the first problem which come is like code bases are very large. कोई कैसे पता करेगा कि उसमें फर्स्ट एरर क्या सॉल्व करना है, व्हाट इज द फर्स्ट एरर दे हैव टू सॉल्व इन दैट कोड बेस, how he or she get able to solve the first year of any specific project which he or she want to work on.
Yeah. So once you've selected an organization, try diving a little deeper into it. And most organizations have very good detailed instructions on how to getting started. So follow those instructions. And for detailed knowledge about how something works, you can always find resources from a simple web search, right? So read up the necessary concepts, and then you're good to go. And while starting with the repo, try fixing a simple bug or implement a simple feature, right? So that will actually, help you getting started, and that will actually give you some confidence, right? Don't take up any unnecessary challenging issue, or something difficult. Otherwise, it may demotivate you if you get into some trouble, right, while implementing it, right? So these are the few steps that are most challenging, and they require nothing more than a firm resolve and persistence, right? So yeah, that's it.
So yeah, Razan. I think people will understand what from where they have to go and contribute in the project. So my next question is, if some people contribute in the project, whether he or she just solve the first bug or good first issue in that project, so whether they have to continue with only one project or whether they have to put their hand in multiple projects.
Yeah. So it is actually recommended that you go for one project. Otherwise, you'll have to give time to both of them, and it may happen that none of them is your best work, right? So it is recommended. Although the limit is three, that you can submit at the max three proposals for three different projects during GSOC. Um, but it is recommended that you work on one and give your best in that, right? So you should definitely choose whichever you like the most, and then you should start working on it, start contributing as soon as you can, and start contacting with the mentors. And yeah, and after that, when the proposal submission period starts, before that, try to write a good proposal, get it reviewed by the mentors before the deadlines, and yeah, you're good to go.
Next question is, if you are a complete beginner, how you can get into GSOC, from where you have to start?
Yeah. So there is no straightforward correct answer to this question, but let's discuss some key areas where you should take charge. So the first thing is finding the right project, right? So you will be working on the project for a lot of time, right? So it is very crucial that you find a project that interests you. And when you shortlist the projects you like, look at how much competition you have in that project. And I personally wouldn't recommend a project if two or more people have already started working on your project. Just find some other project, right? And the second part is try contacting the mentors of the project. Read the code of conduct, if any, and contact the mentors accordingly. So this may be through email, or their like I used to we in our organization we had Slack. So there's other platforms like Gitter, etc. So one thing that you should always keep in mind is that do not directly ask your mentors or the community for guidance without any legwork on your side. It will give them a bad impression. So even if the community doesn't seem to provide getting started directions, do some googling. I mean, try to dive into the code on your own, and after doing all of this, when you get stuck and ask them any questions, do not forget to state all the legwork you did, right? So it will actually this will show them that you are ready to put in effort. So yeah. And the last part is making a good impression. So you should make the community feel your constant presence. You should complete some tasks, before the proposal date, and make sure to keep looking out for new bugs or features. And if you want to start contributing and don't know where to begin, try searching beginner friendly issues. Some of the issues have beginner friendly tags like new first, and something like that. So that will actually help you identifying that these are easy, and you should, if you're a beginner, you should get started with this. So ask the organization admins if it's still open, and if you can work on it. You can create a new issue if you find a bug in the application, and then after that it's simple. You submit a PR suggesting your code that involves that particular problem, and ask the admins to review it, right? So in this way you can start making others perceive your presence in the community, right? Yeah, and the last part is to have a decent proposal. It should be ambitious and while also being achievable. That's important. So yeah.
So yes, Razan, I think our viewers get your points, whatever you are saying, and if they have still doubt, I'll give your LinkedIn in my video descriptions. So from there, they can check you out. And next question is, can you tell about what are the prerequisite of GSOC?
So you require almost no skills for GSOC, just a lot of enthusiasm and dedication to do whatever you want to do. And every project actually requires different skill set, and often these are things that you will learn while you start working on a project rather than learn beforehand. So look out for projects that interest you first. Some organizations are very supportive, and they might entertain candidates with missing skills and help them gain expertise along with GSOC. And some organizations have a strict no spoon feeding policy. So yeah. So apart from all this, I will recommend you to have some basic knowledge about a version control system. Git is the most popular one, and having experience with Git will decrease the friction, and learning about the programming language and the technology stack of your project.
So yes, Razan, I think viewers get your point. And my next question is, if someone learned the tech stack and then the things come on finding the right project. So can you give some insight that how someone can find the right project for them?
So it is actually straightforward. Just go through the entire list of participating orgs of previous years, and try shortlisting based on your interest and existing knowledge. I mean knowledge. I mean knowledge of languages or tech stack frameworks. That's it. So and then find out more about these shortlisted organizations and their projects that they're working on, and also the number of students selected, and means of communication. So and then after that, once you have shortlisted, rank these organizations in order of your preference, and then start contacting the mentors from the top of the list.
Okay, Razan. So if someone finds the right project, so how they can start contributing in that project?
Yeah, so as usual, fork the project repository, clone it, and then start understanding the code base. Now, start communicating with your mentor. If they give you task, good. But if they don't, just pick one yourself. So as I mentioned before, find issues that have labeled good first issue or beginner friendly, something like that. So, and do not start working on an issue before someone from the organization gives you a go ahead, right? That's really important. And you should first ask for that, and discuss it with your mentor, and or someone in that organization. And once you have a task, do proper research, learn new stuff if you have to. And if you have no idea how to proceed, ask for help. Don't ever hesitate to ask for help. Just do your legwork first, and then after that, if you find yourself stuck somewhere, ask for help. Be very clear in your communication. Mention about what you understand, what you have tried, and what you think, right, about solving that problem. So once you understand the issue properly, it's easy to fix it.
Okay, Razan. So my next question is how to make a good proposal for GSOC.
Yeah, so a good proposal is as important as contributing to the project in that organization. And for writing the good proposal, I would suggest start as early as possible with your proposal. The earlier you start working on your proposal, the higher are the chances of you getting your proposal reviewed, right, by the mentors, and then the higher are the chances of your proposal getting selected. So you can take a look at previous year GSOC proposals, and you can also get in touch with former GSOCers and ask them to share their proposals. And if they help, that's really good. And that should, give you a decent idea of what's expected in a good proposal. So make sure to be clear and concise in explaining what's in your mind regarding the project. Try using images and flow charts wherever necessary. So use a good template, not too decorative, but sober and straightforward. And discuss your, education, work, previous year open source contributions, if any, and list your skills that are relevant to the project, along with the evidence of your, work in that field, right? So mention any links necessary and describe, your idea in as much detail as possible, along with a complete timeline. Yeah, that's also necessary. And yeah, that's it.
Okay, Rajan. So I think you just give the good insights about from where you have to start in GSOC to contribution, making proposals, and all. So the last question is obviously what is the perks of GSOC?
So there are a lot of perks for GSOC. Firstly, you will have a chance to interact and be a part of an astonishing communities out there. I mean, the mentors and community members are experts in their fields, and getting an opportunity to connect with them is incredible. So you might be able to get recommendations or referrals from them, which might help you forge your career path. So the second thing is, knowing the fact that your code will be, merged with the main code base, and it will be used by thousands of other developers is itself, considerable motivation. So GSOC will, significantly increase your skill set, and it will surely, give you a sense of accomplishment. And the other things include, you get to work with the freshest technologies on a large code base. And yeah, so it shows that you have some real experience in developing software. and and Google pays you a very decent amount of stipend for your work during GSOC. So these are some of the perks, of getting GSOC, and of course there is a lot more. And yeah, so learning is one key thing that will always be there constantly.
Okay, Rajan, you just give the great insights about GSOC, its preparation, from where you have to start, and all those things. I think it's gonna help a lot more people outside who are trying to get into GSOC 2022. So, can you share one last tip to all the students who are preparing for GSOC 2022?
Yeah, so the last thing that I would like to say is, start now. I mean, start as soon as you can. You can have a look over the timeline of GSOC. It's already there on the website. And, and after looking over it, just start as early as possible. Start contributing with your organization, or, the organization that you choose to work with, and start with the projects. And then, start as soon as you can. The sooner you start, the more edge you'll have during the GSOC, and while the selection procedure begins, and the higher will be your chances of you getting selected, because of course you'll have a significant number of contributions in that project, right? So that will actually, that will be a key point in your proposals. And yeah, that's it.
So yes, Rajan, you just give great insights from your side about GSOC from you, and as well as if someone have doubt regarding GSOC and all, please go and contact Rajan on LinkedIn. Provide their LinkedIn account in the video description. Yeah, I hope this video helped you a lot, and if it helps you in any way, then please don't forget to like, subscribe, share this video, and because it just motivates me to create such kind of content. Thank you.